July 1943, Harlem. Looky here, America, what you done? Let things drift until the riots come. Sunday, August 1st, 1943, the Braddock Hotel, Harlem, evening. A prostitute is arrested by a white police officer. Enter! A 26-year-old black soldier hits the cop in the head. Let's go, let's go, let's go! Gets shot in the shoulder. Arrested. Sunday, August 1st, 1943, 125th Street, Harlem. An hour later, Harlemites have taken to the streets. 1 throws a bottle to the ground, glass shards ricocheting. 2 ignites the flame that crawls up 8th Avenue. 3 screams, "Get the white man!" Sunday, August 1st, 1943, West 117th and West 118th Streets between Lenox and 8th Avenues, Harlem. The hum of work at the Negro Quarterly. A man sits at his desk at the Negro Quarterly. Screams, alarms, sirens, gunfire. A man leaves his desk at the Negro Quarterly. Milk, whiskey, bread, glass. Ralph Ellison stands watching. Get the hell out of the way! I leaped aside into the street, and there was a sudden and brilliant suspension of time, like the interval between the last axe stroke and the felling of a tall tree, in which there had been a loud noise followed by a loud silence. Then I was aware of figures crouching in doorways and along the curb. Then time burst, and I was down in the street, conscious but unable to rise, struggling against the street and seeing the flashes as the guns went off back at the corner of the avenue, aware to my left of the men still speeding, the rumbling safe along the walk, as back up the street behind me, 2 policemen, almost invisible in black shirts, thrust flaming pistols before them. An invisible man lays watching. 1920s Harlem. The city is home to one of the largest black communities in the world. 1930s Harlem. Whites refuse to rent to Negroes elsewhere. The city is home to the largest black community in the world, but there are only so many white tenants willing to grant blacks housing, and rent for blacks is still higher than economically comparable white neighborhoods. 1930s Harlem. Over 3,800 blacks living on one city block. 1930s Harlem. Negro families paying over half their incomes for shelter. 1930s Harlem. The Depression brought everybody down a peg or two, and the Negroes had but few pegs to fall. 1930s Harlem eviction, the black single mother sheltering her children from the cold white pistols of the invading officers. Eviction, the crowd gathers to watch as the belongings of a family of 8 get thrown out in the middle of the street. Eviction, the grandma clutching her husband as she watches the table he had handcrafted for their 50th anniversary being snapped in half to fit through the doorway. It was just a table anyhow. An invisible man rises, watching. 1930s Harlem, tenements, the solution to all of our problems. 1930s Harlem, tenements, the overcrowded residential buildings that rarely contain any central heating and force the 5 extended families living on one floor to share one toilet if they're lucky enough to have an indoor toilet. Back alley outhouses are much more common. 1930s Harlem, tenements, the congested decade-old buildings whose conditions account for a 1.6% death rate. 1930s Harlem, tenements, the solution to all of our problems. Sunday, August 1st, 1943, Harlem. Racial tensions have run too high. Sunday, August 1st, 1943, Harlem. The city is the focal point in the struggle for the liberation of the Negro people. Sunday, August 1st, 1943, Harlem. The riots begin. Sunday, August 1st, 1943, Harlem. An invisible man sets fire to a tenement building. May 1954, Washington, D.C., the Warren Court in Brown v. Board of Education unanimously votes that segregation in public schools is inherently unequal and therefore unconstitutional. Thursday, May 1st, 2014. Here. Gone are the days of segregation at public facilities. Gone are the days of not being allowed to attend the same school as my black classmates, let alone be friends with them. Gone are the days during which all black men and women are inherently invisible, merely on the basis of their race. But despite this undeniable progress, the angry legacy of the invisible man has still not been fully resolved. Our blacks are still encountering persecution and discrimination. Stereotypes remain burning on the skin of those who are deemed to be different because of color. And as that group of black teenagers walks down 125th Street, that little white girl is still being shielded by her white mother, whose mind is rife with stereotypes and judgments passed down from her white mother, from her white mother, from her white mother. And as that man sits behind his desk at work near West 117th and West 118th Streets between Lenox and 8th Avenues, perhaps he does not hear the screams, alarm sirens, gunfire, but he can still hear their echoes. Looky here, America, what you done? Let things drift until the riots come.